setting up your meeting to Facebook
It's streaming live on Facebook.
I probably waited too long to launch it, so that it was like, oh no, I'm sad. But now we should be live. Yay!
We're now streaming live.
You're now streaming live. Hello, everybody.
Hola, hola.
I don't see anything live.
Mine says live on Facebook. So here we are.
I have a thing that's on my screen that says live from Facebook, but I don't see us live from Facebook.
It takes a few minutes to post. I
see a blurry thing. Oh, hang on. Oh, look, I see you.
Hey, you see me? Okay, good. It all worked.
All right, so we got 2 viewers. Is that me and Reese?
Oh no, you're supposed to be slow, man. I have 5 viewers on my.
Oh, now I have 7.
Are we popular? Are we popular?
I doubt it. I don't think 7 makes you popular.
Hey, 7?
We're up to 10 now. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Hi.
So this is the part where you send us questions.
Yes. You're probably not used to seeing me. I'm the camera girl. Hi, I'm Rachel. So.
Hi, Dee. I miss you.
Just giving everyone a chance to join into our Facebook Live here.
Hey, Faye's here. She says hello to everybody.
All of my animals are still sleeping. So I have a dog.
This animal doesn't sleep. Oh, stop.
Just don't put any water on it after midnight.
Your little.
Don't feed it and let it get wet after midnight.
Yeah, well, you don't feed it after midnight, and you don't ever let it get wet. If you don't get her wet, she smells like a sock.
Ew.
Yeah, she reproduces into thousands and thousands of other little gremlins.
Yes, it's true. You have to be careful. Great amount of responsibility with these things.
Okay, well, today's episode, in case anyone is wondering, we're doing kind of a get to know the staff. And so your lovely hosts, Ian and Reese, are going to give a little background about themselves. And if you guys have any questions you want to ask them, feel free to do that. And I might do a little spiel myself how you can kind of get to know me. And
sure, go ahead. Tell us about yourself, Rachel.
Yeah.
Everybody's dying to know because we haven't gotten a chance to see you much yet.
I know. I've always been hidden behind the camera. So, but I just want to let people know if you're enjoying our videos and if you're having fun, don't forget to give us a like. That would know you guys are enjoying our videos. And feel free to share them. That way other people know that this is going on. So I love to see those likes. It's good to know that what we're doing is having a positive effect on people. So, yeah. Okay, so you guys want me to go first, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
People need to know.
They have to know. Okay, so my name is Rachel. I am the marketing and PR assistant or coordinator at the Sternberg Museum. I just graduated from Fort Hays State University with a business administration, a bachelor's in business administration with an emphasis in marketing. And I also had a certificate in leadership and a certificate in museum management. So that's what I got to do. So I was born and raised in Kansas, just in a little town, about an hour and a half from Hays. Some of my favorite activities I love to do, I love to read. I'm dyslexic, which is kind of funny that a dyslexic person loves to read. But I think because I had to challenge myself to sit down and read and to practice seeing those words, I think I developed a liking for reading. And so that's one thing. I also am a huge animal lover, so I love all creatures. I have a few reptiles for pets, and I have a dog, and I have a horse, and I love to go horseback riding. So the guys know from the office, like they're like, dress for like your dream job. Well, I always dress like a cowgirl. So I always show up to work with boots, cowboy boots on.
Yeah, you don't want me dressing for my dream job.
Yep. So, oh yeah, someone asked what drew me to Hayes. So the reason why I came to Hayes really was for school. Again, I grew up pretty close to Hayes, so my family would actually come to Hayes every once in a while to kind of do some shopping, come to civilization for a little bit. And then also Fort Hays State University. I went to my community college back home. It was Colby Community College. I went there for 2 years, and I wanted to continue my education because I felt like that was important. So I went to Fort Hays and ended up being there for about 4 or 5 years because I actually switched my major. I was originally in accounting, and then I realized accounting was not, it just was not for me.
Whatever, Dean.
So I switched to marketing, and I have enjoyed marketing, and I feel like I get a chance to be more creative in marketing, and still have like kind of had that business sense going on. So I do like
to the museum.
And the museum, yes. And I ended up, I think my second semester at being like a Fort Hays student, I ended up applying for a job at the Sternberg Museum as the front desk assistant. And I'm just like, man, I really love the museum. I don't want to leave, so I got to figure out how to stay here. So I ended up having a conversation with Dr. Reese Barrick, who we all know and love. And I was like, what can I do to kind of make myself stand out in the museum world? How can I still, I just want to stay in the field of like museum education and figure out how to use my major for that. So it kind of worked out becoming the PR for the Sternberg Museum. So that's kind of, I guess, how I got to Hayes was for school.
We just want to remind people who are tuning in that this is a Q&A, and we have around 20-ish, well, now 16-ish viewers. So feel free to ask us questions. We'll do our best to answer them. Of course, questions within reason.
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk about what I ate for dinner last night because I don't remember last night. But yeah, this is going to be a quick presentation if we don't have interaction from people. So send us questions. Come on.
Yeah. What would you like to know about us? So I guess that's a little brief introduction about me. But feel free to still ask questions about, if you want to know something else about me, that's cool. Who else? Ian, would you like to give us a background on your life story?
No.
I'm sure people are dying to know as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. My name is Ian Trevethan. I am the Education and Outreach Manager at the Sternberg Museum of Natural History. And I live to serve a small dog. That has become my life recently. I have a background in vertebrate paleontology. Well, I guess, I grew up in Washington State. There is not a whole lot of, at least when I was there wasn't a whole lot of paleontology, not on the eastern side of the state. So I found myself traveling to Montana, where I got my undergrad, where I majored in geology with a focus in vertebrate paleontology and a minor in museum studies. And then I went on to grad school at Fort Hays State University. Again, I studied geology with a focus in vertebrate paleontology. And my specific focus was mosasaur physiology via stable isotope analysis, which then led me to sort of being at the museum, not necessarily all in that order. The museum was actually the first place I went to when I showed up to Hayes. Like when we were looking for places to live, that's the first place I went, was the museum, because I figured I was going to end up living there anyways. And so I met people pretty quickly off the bat at the museum. And then eventually I kind of worked my way into an education position. I think, what was I? I was like the paleontology educator for a couple of years, and I was just an education assistant. And then I became the education coordinator or the outreach coordinator. And then I took over the education department. So that's kind of what I've been doing the last couple of years.
Nice.
No, we're not getting any work out of Chase. He's worthless. He's just a freeloader.
He's a freeloader. We do have a question. Does the Field Museum have any of the Sternberg's collected materials? From Betty. She wants to know.
I would, if I were a gambling man, I would say probably a couple. I mean, you know, if they have anything that has to do with the western interior of the United States.
There you go. I guess going back to your first question for getting any work out of Chase, of course we're getting work out of Chase. He's such a good collections manager. Chase Shelburne is our Sternberg collections manager, and he would probably be the good person to ask that question. So you can always reach out to him, and he will probably be able to get an answer for you. If not, I know.
The collections area is the cleanest it's been in a long time.
I know, and then.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking in general. You know, there are three. Well, I guess technically, I guess there are sort of two generation of Sternberg members, and I'm actually going to talk about the Sternberg legacy tomorrow. But there are multiple Sternbergs out there that have collected fossils throughout North America. So the likelihood of a large, well-established museum like the Field Museum having a Sternberg collected fossil of some sort is likely, if that makes sense.
I think one time I looked in, and every museum, every large major museum in Europe and North America had a Sternberg fossil in it at some point.
So here's an interesting one, Reese. Annette is asking, can a group call in and set up a group tour with one of you once things open up? Yes, absolutely. And that would be something I would handle. So if you want to get on our website at Sternberg, www.sternberg.fhsu.edu, and go to contact us, a list of staff members will pop up. Just go and find my face, and my email and contact number is there. Send me an email and get things set up when things get back to normal. Absolutely. Hopefully that answered your question, Annette.
You even have a thing where can't you even schedule the tour online?
Yeah.
Without
It's a little hard to predict when we're going to be doing tours again, but yeah, absolutely.
I just think we have to get through April. I think that's the biggest thing.
What's that?
I think we just got to get through April. I think that's the biggest thing.
I think that is a optimistic appraisal of the situation. We'll see.
I like optimism.
Optimism is good.
Brad says hello. Hi, Brad.
Hi, Deb Goodrich. We're taking questions, Deb. If you've got anything that you want to throw at me and try to stump me or any of my colleagues here.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I can give an update on a cool thing we're going to do on Friday.
Well, wait, hang on, Reese. You got to talk about yourself.
Yeah, you got to share.
Who are you, strange person?
I'm going to share this fun thing first, just so everybody gets a chance.
So excited about it. He's got to share it.
So we have some friends at Silver Plume Exhibitions, and they're really cool. They brought us the Archaeopteryx exhibit a couple of years ago, and they're creating another couple of new exhibits that we're going to have not next summer, but the summer after, on African giant marine things. But anyway, they have a lot of cool friends that are paleo artists and some spectacular paleo artists. If any of you were at the Sternberg 2 summers ago when we had the Archaeopteryx exhibit, you would have seen some really cool paleo art. And So they've talked with their friends, and they're going to do some fun feeds, and they're going to do a thing called How to Draw a T-Rex with Dr. Julius Chutney, which is pretty cool. And you'll be able to tune into it live on Friday afternoon, April 10th at 2 p.m. So you get a chance, if you want, kind of like our Facebook Lives, be able to go in and check out. Dr. Chutney will teach everyone that tunes in how to draw a T-Rex from an expert.
And that's 2 p.m. Central Time, correct?
Central Standard Time. That is correct.
Cool.
So that's going to be pretty cool. It'll be a Zoom meeting webinar platform. So kind of like we're doing, we've got Zoom. And they're also going to have a link available so you can see a pre-recorded lecture by Dr. Chutney discussing his career as a paleo artist. And then you'll have a live chance to interact and learn how to draw a T-Rex. So that will be very cool. And you'll be able to check in. Rachel, how are we going to get them the link so that they can join in on the fun?
Okay, well, as soon as they send us the link, I will probably post it to Facebook, since I believe they're also going to have a Facebook Live with it as well. I'm not totally for sure. But just in case they do, I know I'll post the link, and I will post a link to their Facebook page. So that way, in case their Zoom meeting fills up, because I know there's like a limited amount that usually Zoom meetings will allow, you'll have like the opportunity to probably see it through their Facebook page. So I will probably post that to the Sternberg page Friday morning, somewhere in there. So you guys can save the link and we will join into that in the afternoon. So I'll get that posted to the Facebook page, and I guess if we have any members who are watching, I'll probably put that in the newsletter, so that will also be available for our members as well.
We got a couple of questions coming in. I want to throw this one out to Reese. How do you choose your exhibits, Reese?
Well, that's a good question. There are different places. A lot of times what's interesting is most places that have traveling exhibits, and I assume the question is sort of about traveling exhibits. We have a traveling exhibit space, and it's around 2,500 square feet, something like that. So places that have exhibits that they're trying to rent to museums on basically will send out a lot of information and emails sort of marketing their exhibits. So the first thing that I look at is, does the exhibit meet our mission? Does it have anything to do, I mean, it needs to do with natural history. So that's sort of the first step. The second step is, how large is it? Is it going to fit within the space that we have? And is it going to fit somewhere within our budget? So we try to pick one sort of slightly larger exhibit that we have for the summer, because we have half of our visitation generally for the year comes through the summer. And then we have the same space we have to fill all year round. So we try to get a few slightly smaller exhibits that are still sort of focused on natural history in some way, shape, or form, and for the rest of the year. And after that, it comes down to, what do I think would be really fun and interesting that people would like to see? So step one, finding natural history exhibits. Step two, finding something that's within our budget and floor space size. And three, something that I think is really cool and interesting. If we get through that, then we're in good shape.
What if I up the ante on this question and ask you, if you are redesigning your own museum, how would you choose what permanent exhibits go on display?
What permanent exhibits go on display? Well, that's an even.
What would be your driving criteria there?
Well, number one is always going to be our mission, and figuring how do exhibits fit within our mission. And after that, it's going to be a lot of what do we have in our museum as objects for our exhibit? What stories need to be told based on what we have in our collections? Because collections are extremely important in getting science out. And after that, then it becomes an idea of what cool stories can be told and what are the big important ones that might want to be told. And that becomes starting off with discussions with the staff. And then we would get into probably getting some even meetings with our community and having some open house meetings to find out what people are really interested in, and more specifically, how they would like to learn things. Do they want highly technology-oriented exhibits? Do they want to be told about things, or do they want to try to be able to look at exhibits and have open-ended questions that they can figure out answers for themselves? So there's a lot of ways that you can develop a permanent exhibit. And each of these styles, it's really important to find the community and find out what they're interested in and how they best learn and enjoy a museum. So there's kind of a step. There's mission, there's collections, there's your professional staff, and then there's your community. And you want to get all of the information together and then design how you want the exhibit stories to flow. There's things, do you want to walk one trail through your museum, or do you want to have it open-ended so you can go any different direction and they're all equally independent of how you want to travel?
Okay, I've got another good question from Deb Goodrich of the Fort Wallace Museum. She produces a show called Around Kansas and is author of several books about Kansas history, is asking, how would you like to do an exhibit on fossils along the Santa Fe Trail for the 200th next year, which I assume is 2021. It's a little bit short notice, so maybe just a program. Well, Deb, I think I probably have to ask my boss. Please, can I do a fossil program about the fossils along the Santa Fe Trail for the 200th anniversary?
Do we have lots of fossils from the Santa Fe Trail?
That bears, hey, Mike Everhart, do we have fossils from along the Santa Fe Trail? I'll bet you we do. So yeah, I think that's definitely, I think cross-institutional partnerships are great. So I'm okay with that if my boss is okay with it.
I think that fits in our mission. I think we can do that.
We have a mission.
We have a mission.
Mission from God. That was a Blues Brothers reference. Clarifying.
I have yet to see the Blues Brothers. Don't judge me. I want to. It's on my list. I just never have an opportunity to see it.
Okay, so just anybody who might be tuning in sort of just now in the last few minutes, we're fielding questions from our viewers today. So if you've got any questions, feel free to send them to us in the comments links area. And
there you go. So Reese, do you want to share a little bit of your background? How'd you end up in Hays, Kansas as the Sternberg Museum Director?
Really good question. In a long roundabout way. It was a long and winding road. So I'm originally from Iowa, from a small town in Iowa. And I went to a small school in Iowa where I studied biology and geology, which is kind of a fun thing. I liked Jacques Cousteau and Marlon Perkins from Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. So I really liked wildlife and animals. And so I was going to be a biologist when I went to college. I thought that would be kind of fun. But I wasn't really into being a doctor. I want, like a medical doctor. I like to go out where it was dirty and play with the animals. So while I was there, I had a friend who is now a professor at University of Northern Colorado, and he's kind of a hard rock geologist. And he talked me into taking a geology class or two. And he sort of went from biology to geology. And so I took a geology class, fell in love with that, and I decided the study of life on the earth and then the study of the history of life on the earth was kind of where I was really interested in. So I went to graduate school for essentially paleontology, which is kind of covering those two things, geology and biology. So I got a master's and PhD at the University of Southern California. I wanted to get out of the Midwest and see different parts of the world and the country. So I ended up in California, about as far different of a place as you could get, from small town Iowa. So Los Angeles was a fun place for a few years, got to see all sorts of cool geology, ocean, smog, all kinds of crazy things there. And went from there, got a PhD studying dinosaurs and stable isotopes. So I did the study on T-Rex. That was my first paper, was in Science on the thermophysiology of T-Rex. Said it was warm-blooded. All right, that was pretty cool. Went from there to North Carolina State, where I taught for 10 years, and then ended up taking my first museum job in Utah, in Price, Utah, at the College of Eastern Utah, and it was a dinosaur/archaeology museum, which was really an amazing, fun, awesome place. But it was a part of a community college. So I had a chance when the Sternberg Museum job opened. It was going to be pretty cool because Sternberg is a very famous name in paleontology, and it was a natural history museum. So it covered all aspects of natural history, and it was at a larger university. So we have a program that has a master's degree, master's students. So it was kind of a cool opportunity. So I jumped at it and ended up here in Kansas. And now I'm actually closer to where I grew up in Iowa than I have been since I left home. So it's a place that is kind of comforting. You grow up with plains and agriculture. It's in your blood. So even though I've gotten to see forests and mountains and oceans, it's a very centering place to be here. So there you go. That's me.
Nice. That's awesome. We do have a question from Ashley. She says, Rachel, Ian, and Reese, what is your favorite exhibit at the museum, past or present? That's a good question. Who wants to go first to answer that? I think mine, honestly, would have to be the one that's probably left a big impression on me and kind of probably started my passion for history, I guess, so to speak. So I think it was back in 2000 when the Sternberg Museum had Sue the T-Rex in, and I was a wee little thing, smaller than I am now, and I thought seeing Sue was so cool because my favorite movie was Jurassic Park, and so to see like T-Rex was like a thing, it was real. It just kind of, I don't know, just started my passion for history and natural history because I just thought it was amazing. And so I think that had to probably be my favorite exhibit in the past. I think for today, or I guess a permanent exhibit in the museum, I think my favorite exhibit is the Tylosaur that's on display, because I think after learning about mosasaurs and hearing how cool they are, that's kind of become my favorite, I guess, marine reptile animal. So I guess that would be my kind of favorite exhibit in the museum. Ian, what would be your favorite?
Gosh, there have been so many. It's really hard to choose. I really enjoyed. We had an African dinosaurs exhibit a couple of years ago that I had a really, really good time as a museum educator. I was really in my element. For me, sometimes I have a hard time giving guided tours through the temporary traveling exhibits that are only here for a few months, just because sometimes the learning curves for some of the subjects is kind of steep, just because sometimes they're really, really diverse. And so it might be really out of my depth. But in this particular case, I was pretty new at, I think I was just starting my education outreach coordinator position. And I was just, every day, it was like I couldn't wait to get out of bed and like get to the museum. And that particular spring, we had a lot of groups coming through, and I was having a really, that was a lot of fun. That was a high energy time. As I've gotten older, I don't have that kind of energy anymore. but I enjoyed that a lot. I don't know, I enjoy all of the exhibits that come through though.
Yeah,
So
they're also like,
I mean, the exhibit that we've got now, the Prairie Ocean Long Time No See exhibit, is another, new level of incredible and fun. And, that's an exhibit that's fun to take people through. I'm a little bummed that we're not able to do it this time of year right now, because normally the day would be packed.
Exactly.
Reese, what would be your favorite exhibit?
It's kind of a I don't know, a weird, unfair question, because I picked out most of the traveling exhibits. And probably my favorite one is probably still the first one that I brought in, which was Super Croc, because that was a lot of fun. It was a really large exhibit to try to fit into our space, and we got lots of help marketing it around, and it was fun to see in my first summer here how many people packed into the museum to come see a traveling exhibit. And giant crocodiles, 45-foot crocodiles is kind of a cool thing to see. So
I didn't realize that was the first exhibit you brought in. That was what was on display when I arrived.
Yep, I got here in August of 2009, and that was the 2010 summer exhibit. So yep, that was the first one I brought in. So for traveling exhibits, for permanent exhibits, again, I'm a little bit biased, but because the one that I really wanted to have put up was Bringing Fossils to Life, simply because I really liked the idea of having bringing live animals and putting them with associated fossils, so that we could sort of show how life has changed through time and how it's still the same, and the processes of evolution are still the same as they've always been. So coming up with the ideas of putting tortoises and tortoise fossils and mosasaurs with monitor lizards and mud skippers and things with more, older tetrapod fossils was just something that I thought would be really cool to do. So I'm biased, but that's kind of the one I like to come back to every day.
Nice. That's super cool. So, okay, so I guess just a little fun question. If you were a dinosaur, what kind of dinosaur would you be?
Me or Ian?
It's for all of us. what kind of dinosaur would you be?
As a dinosaur, I'd be a raptor.
You'd be a raptor. What kind of raptor?
A Utah raptor.
Utah raptor. The big one.
The big one, of course. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah, I think I would be an allosaur.
That's so you guys went for like all the big predators. I was kind of thinking about that. I was like, I think I would be like a like the dinosaur that has the dome for the head, like Pachycephalosaurus. Because I thought I like the idea that they're like the strong, like stubborn-headed or strong-headed lizard.
Plus, you're pretty, hard-headed.
Yeah, hard-headed. See, that's why I was like, for my personality, it would probably be, that's probably what I would be, just this stubborn lizard.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I can see that.
Yep. So I think that's what I would do.
So yeah, if you've got questions to send us, please put them in the text or the message.
Leave us a comment.
Comment. Thank you. Comment. Words are hard.
Words are hard.
Hey, Ian, what are you going to be talking about this afternoon?
I think I'm going to talk about the last time that I found myself, well, for lack of better words, quarantined in a house, having to wear face masks and not really knowing what was going to happen. So I'm going to talk about the Mount St. Helens eruption when I was a kid. It's kind of an interesting thing to have lived through that as a child and then as an adult going on and getting a degree, well, multiple degrees in geology. It's really interesting to look back through a geologist's eyes, but have the memory of a child of that whole incident. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about that and sort of talk about a little bit about, the geology and the sort of the timeline and sort of the physical aspects of it. But at the same time, also talk about what was happening in real time as I was watching. One of the funny things, I guess I'll give you a sneak preview, is my grandma, my 80-year-old grandma, was visiting us from Michigan. And she got stuck with us for, I don't know, 3 weeks or something until planes could fly again. And it was many years before she came back and visited us after that.
That's pretty awesome. I got to fly over Mount St. Helens. I did an internship at the Mount St. Helens Volcano Observatory in Vancouver, Washington.
Vancouver, Washington is a beautiful place.
It was really awesome. I got to actually go into the dome in a helicopter and walk around on the dome.
The one time I tried to get up to St. Helens, it was still early spring. And we made it about 3/4 of the way up, and then there was too much snow. So I was really bummed that I didn't actually get to the volcano itself.
It was the locality of one of my most terrifying nights of my life.
I can only imagine.
I was camping by myself. I had to do while I was doing my internship, I had to do a biology project, and they hauled me up onto the slopes of Mount St. Helens, and this was in '86, so it was 6 years later. I was looking at recovery of plants around, and I put a tent up, and there's no trees, right? it kind of wiped out.
Yeah.
But there was, they told me that it was a little early for the bears to come out. So, right? So I'm out there in my tent, and there's no trees. So I have all my food with me in my tent, right? And I'm trying to go to bed, and I hear outside this. I'm like, what the heck is that? I'm gonna die out here. I'll have my rock hammer. As a geologist.
Defend myself with a rock hammer.
So were you an undergrad or were you a graduate student?
Oh, I was an undergrad. It was my senior year as an undergrad. And yes, so I was out alone in a tent thinking that there were bears coming out, walking around my tent, and I had food in it. So
I was 13.
Yes. I was 21.
Yeah.
So yes, that was, I think it was just elk or deer or elk going by that were.
Elk are scary enough, man.
I know, but I got up the next day and had to walk around. I'm looking at different caves and places where there might be bears, overwintering.
Yeah, I got chased by a moose once. That was pretty scary.
That would be
Moose
terrible.
are vicious though, like especially when they have babies. They don't play around. They don't. Well, I have yet to see a volcano. I think the worst
Well, it's
I've
better
ever
when you
experienced
go to
is
the
like a dust
volcano
storm.
and look at the volcano rather than the volcano coming to you.
Yeah,
That's a whole new spin. So
that would be interesting. So, but I guess it's kind of like on my bucket list to see a volcano. Not like it erupting or anything, but it'd be kind of cool to be like, oh, like on a tour, like there's a volcano, and I'm like, amazing, off the bucket list.
I always kind of had this weird fascination with Mount Vesuvius and um, Herculaneum and Pompeii, just because while the St. Helens eruption was nowhere near as bad as that, I kind of have a unique perspective on what those people must have gone through, and those similar fears. Luckily for us, it just wreaked some havoc, but it didn't really do the kind of damage that they experienced. But it's on my bucket list to go to that part of Italy and see that volcano and say I've been there and run away.
Right. And that's such a like I guess going on to like the disaster in Pompeii. It's a very interesting, I think, kind of like not only like geological history, but it's also like cultural history, which is something I also like studying. And I don't understand like why people thought building next to a volcano was a good idea, unless I don't know, like did they not know that it was?
They really, I don't think they really understood what that was about.
Right. I mean, kind of, I guess going back to that time, they thought maybe
Eruptions like that take place, like every couple of thousand years, so that last eruption that would have done that kind of devastation would have been, a couple of thousand years prior to their time. So, they didn't have the knowledge of volcanism. In fact, I don't think there was a word for volcano until after Vesuvius, I think. Again, I'm not an expert, so
I think it'll be cool because eruptions like that and preserve sort of culture. So it's kind of a cool thing to see what life was like because it all got buried in a single moment in time, giving you sort of an in-depth look at a snapshot in time. I wonder what our culture is going to look like when Yellowstone goes off again and buries us all.
That's scary.
People will come back and take a look. We've got in Nebraska, we have Ashfall, a state park there that's got when Yellowstone had gone off. What was that? 12 million years ago, and buried all sorts of large animals and in ash, and which is that's a place where you find tons of them. So it goes off every some 600,000 years, and we're past the point of when it could go off again. So that'll be kind of fun.
Yeah, when I was living in Bozeman, my plan was just to drive straight for it.
There you go.
Just get vaporized. I don't really have a backup plan now.
Just eyes.
Go north.
There you go. It's almost like the what is that? War of the Worlds when the radio station they're doing like a dramatic reading of War of the Worlds and people thought it was real. They all took off for the mountains.
H.G. Wells, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they finally, people were freaking out so much they finally had to break down and say, no, this is just...
It's not real.
Not real.
Hey, Reese, can you guess what kind of dinosaur Dr. Fink would be?
He'd probably be one of those...
Think Avian dinosaur.
He would be a little feathered dinosaur.
Yes.
Let's see. He would be a I don't know, what's a cool little feathered dinosaur from China?
Well, think about what he's done.
I could be a Bambi raptor, maybe.
Well, he says he would be a modern dinosaur, the grassland dickcissel.
Well, of course, that's true. It's always Dick Sissel.
And then Mike Everhart's favorite exhibit in our fossil gallery is the Tylosaurus prorigor specimen.
Yep.
That was collected by G.F. Sternberg and Son in 1927. So that's the big Tylosaurus that's listed as our state fossil, right?
State fossil.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think that would have to be my favorite too, then, because that's on display, right?
Yep.
That Mosasaur. Yeah, I like that. But I think I just like all Mosasaurs in general. But of course, I gotta love our state fossil.
I kind of like the Pteranodon, another state fossil. So yes, flying state fossil. I like that, and then turtles are my favorite animals. So I kind of like the big Protostega. Those are kind of cool too.
What kind of dinosaur would Curtis be?
Oh, man. That's a good question. Curtis is a dinosaur.
Knowing his passion for flying mammals, I would almost pick him to be a fruit bat or something. If he was to go what kind of animal would he be?
I don't know. He's always kind of a snake in the grass.
That's true. He also likes snakes.
Kind of like the snakes. I don't know if we have any snake-like dinosaurs. Not really.
No, not really. I mean, I guess going back to kind of I don't know, mosasaurs, since they're kind of somewhat related to snakes, right? Okay. I'm not a paleontologist, so I don't know, but I have been listening to your guys' podcast.
I think he might be kind of related to you with the Pachycephalosaurus. He's got that chrome dome thing going on. He can be pretty
You said it, not me. I have nothing to do with that.
I don't think he's watching, so we can
Doesn't mean
probably get away with it unless he watches the video later.
All right, cool. Well, anything else we want to talk about? I guess we're 50 minutes into it, so
Oh man.
I think we could probably wrap it up if
Yeah.
questions.
If we don't have any more questions, well, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate all this love and support. As always, continue to share and like our videos. And if you haven't liked our page yet, like the Sternberg page and follow. That way you can get notifications when the next video will be live. Like for today, it'd be super fun to learn about volcanoes and to hear Ian's story on St Helens. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Anything else you guys want to add before we sign off?
Hang in there.
Yep.
Stay far apart. Hang in there, and tune in. And this is kind of our lifeline too. This is our fun for the day, being able to talk and connect with you. And so we enjoy when you get a chance to come watch us also. So we'll continue this process, and we may have so much fun. We may have to continue it even after we can get back out of our houses.
So yeah, support each other from a distance.
There you go. Oh, I guess one more little announcement. I just now remembered. We have a online gift shop that you can visit on our webpage. So you can get t-shirts and mugs, and just kind of I think there's a few other things on there that you can shop and look at. And so that's just one way to support the museum. So you can get a t-shirt, which is always fun, or a mug, so you can kind of enjoy your coffee and watch our shows. with the Sternberg mug. So feel free to check that out. Again, that is on our website. You just go to the exhibitions gift shop and get yourself some merch. Kind of help support us there as well. So
All right.
that's it.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.